Hello there, it's Paul Mash TV time again. Thank you so much for joining us. We got another great interview coming up for you in just a moment. But before we begin, don't forget about that subscribe button, bell buttons down there. And anytime you press those, you'll be notified of any new episodes coming your way. And if you'd like to leave a comment on the comment section, you can. And go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Paul Mash TV. And you can send us an inbox there and follow us, comment everything you see there. And also, we have email as well. It's paulmashtv, all one word, at gmail.com. And if you're a band or a solo artist and would like to be on the show, send us an email and we'll show you how to do that. But you can also send us fan mail as well. And we love fan mail and we'll always get back to you. And all this is going to be recapped at the closing credits at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. From Stirling, Ontario, Canada, we have Vicki Spurrell with us today. And another great artist. I think you're really going to love her. Love the song at the end. And we'll get to that in a second. But first, before we get into that, we're going to have a quick word from Galtar, the guitar just made specifically for women. And we'll get to that, and it starts right now. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Ready in 5.
Darling, when nothing else seems to match up. Galtar, the musical apparel that fits any outfit. Galtar, bringing heaven to earth, one gal at a time. GaltarHeaven.com.
Okay, we're back, and with us from Stirling, Ontario, Canada today, we have Vicki Spurrell with us. Thanks for joining us, Vicki.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. We're glad to have you here today. So why don't you tell everybody about how it all got started with you as far as being an artist goes? I mean, maybe you've always loved music growing up. Maybe you fell into it later. I mean, give us your own, tell us in your own words.
Sure. I have always loved music. As a kid, I would be in our basement, and I'd even have roller skates on in the basement, and I'd have my parents' record player on and be singing to any artist that I could sing to. I sang in church all my life. I probably started leading worship when I was about 10 years old, believe it or not. Like a lot of artists, they seem to start out in church. But I started out leading for the children, and then they had me go to the whole service, and then it'd be Sunday night and family nights. It just kind of blossomed from there. And but I used to work in a nursing home in Smiths Falls. I was born in Ottawa, but raised in a little town called Iroquois, Ontario, which is along the Seaway. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of that little town. Yeah, we were in Smith Falls and working at the nursing home, and I thought, in the activity department, I can't do any worse than some of the other people that we had coming there. It sounds bad. And I started doing it on a part-time basis while working full-time at the nursing home. And that's probably, I would say, about 7 years ago, maybe. But I started doing it on weekends and holidays and days that I had off. And it went very well. And I said to my husband, I think I'd like to quit my job at the nursing home and do this on a full-time basis. So after a little bit, we finally got our bearings and things that we needed to put in order. And I quit my job, and I just put my itinerary and my times that I had available out there to all of my contacts that I had, and it just exploded. It was crazy. Pre-COVID, I was doing over 300 shows a year. And then, of course, COVID hit and music just got shut right down. But since then, I have just decided that I am just going to pretty much do nursing homes and retirement homes. I just I love seniors and I love the oldies. And that's what I grew up on, listening in my parents' basement. My father was a huge, huge impact on my singing. He's been gone now for, I think it's 17 years next month. But he was always singing around the house, dancing around the house, having fun. He never got to see this side of me because I never really did anything but sing in the basement. And they sent us to church, so they never saw that. But so that's pretty much the gist of it. I started doing like the fair thing. I was asked to do the fairs. I've done benefits and fundraisers and shared the stage with Charlie Pride's son, Dion Pride, and Tracy Brown and Randall Prescott. And yeah, I just found it just boomed when it happened. It went.
Okay, well, that's quite a story there, and I hope that you'll have many years ahead of you doing what you're doing now. So,
Thank you. Well, I definitely love it. So
well, tell everybody about some of the people you grew up with that helped inspire you. I mean, I'm sure there's some influences that come to mind, especially in the Legend area.
well, actually, it's more the Iroquois area for me. Again, it would be my dad. My dad, with the influences of him singing around the house, I was exposed to so many different kinds of music, from classic rock to songs like Run Around Sue and Ruby Baby. And Loretta Lynn was a big influence for me too. I just love Loretta Lynn and grew up listening to her, grew up listening to Conway Twitty, and of course lots of other artists. But for me, it was Loretta Lynn was my favorite, then Conway Twitty too. And when you put the two of them together, it was like, wow. And I just thought, I want to do that, but I never jumped out and tried it until, like I said, maybe about 7 or 8 years ago now. And it boomed from there. So they were my influences, really. And God, of course. Singing in church. I can't forget God, right?
Right.
He's the biggest one.
Yeah, those are definitely some good singers, like you mentioned Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty, and I mean, especially when they sang together, I mean, you couldn't go wrong with that. Um, Now, how can we find your music? Because somebody might be, they might get done watching this interview right now, and they may want to get your music. Can you get it on all streaming platforms? Can we follow you on social media? I'll tell everybody how they can do that.
It's not on all the platforms actually yet. It's more on Facebook, believe it or not, more Facebook. I've had people messaging me, and just people that I've seen outside that have heard me. They've all just asked me. I probably have about 6 CDs out there. One of my favorites is the one of, I don't know if you can really see that, but it's my pink Jeep. I drive a pink Jeep.
Ah,
Yeah, they kind of know me as the pink Jeep girl, and I do have a pink music stand as well. Actually, I just last week I was asked to be the entertainment for, believe it or not, a Barbie day because of the movie that is out now, the Barbie. So I was asked to do that, and I just told them when I stood up in front of them, I just said, you know what? Because the lady introduced me as having not only having a live Barbie car, but also that they were going to have a live Barbie. And when she did that, I just went, if you're classifying me as a Barbie, I said, you know what? I said, you're classifying me as the 50 plus menopause Barbie.
okay, so we could probably contact you on Facebook to get those CDs you were just talking about, or
Absolutely, yes.
okay. So I guess we just look you up under Linda Spurrell, and then we just go from there, right?
Yeah, just look up Vicki Spurrell, message me. You can find me on YouTube. I've got all kinds of stuff there as well, Reverb Nation, those different places. But that's probably about it for now. I have had a couple of music producers from Nashville contact me just a little while ago here this year. And I just kind of push them off for now because there's other things that we would really like to do. My husband has a bucket list thing we haven't done yet. I've done the Nashville thing, so I really want him to do what he wants to do. Maybe November we'll start doing some more new music, and we'll see from there.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
everybody go to Facebook and go to Vicki Spurrell and search for her, and she'll tell you how to get the CDs and whatever, and we hope you do that. And we're getting ready to watch your music video in just a second. It's called The Button Jar. Tell us a little bit about that song. Is it kind of self-explanatory? Maybe it goes deeper than that.
Well, it was written and the melody was done by a lady named Carol Hill. And she actually contacted me on Facebook. She heard me on there because I have a lot on there. And she wanted me to go through her catalog of songs. And I've had quite a few people ask me that way. That's how I've gotten some of my original songs. She asked me to go through her catalog of songs, and so I did, and that song is the one that stuck out to me the most. It talks about, as it's titled, the button jar, but it's got an old country feel to it. And it just reminded me of my grandmother. My mother's mother used to have an old button jar, and it just struck me. It intrigued me, and I listened to it, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I thought, you know what? I think people can really connect with this song. Just because if your grandmother had one like me, I'm a grandmother myself. I have 7 grandchildren now, and I have a little button jar as well. So anyway, yeah, I just fell in love with it. And I told her, I said, I think that this is the one that I would do. And her response was that was the one she figured that I was going to pick. I don't know how she knew that, but anyway, she's a great writer. The things that she has on Facebook, the different songs in her catalog are amazing.
Okay, well,
so that's the story behind that.
Okay, well that is a great story, and I love the song, and I know everyone out there will too wants to hear it, which will happen in just a moment. But I think that's all we need right now, Vicki, and we want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Come back anytime if you want to plug something new, and we'll have you back on.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. And here it is, The Button Jar by Vicki Spurrell, and it starts right now.
There's a treasure from my grandma's house I kept for all to see. It's not worth a lot of money, but it means the world to me. Of all the things from Grandma, it's my favorite thing by far. I can feel her here beside me, going through this button jar. I can still see Grandma sitting as the days were growing dim, stitching on old buttons where the threads were wearing thin. And each one told a story of times both near and far. And she told me of the memories inside this button jar. She talked about her brother Joe when he went off to fight, and this golden colored button, a reminder of the night when he came walking up the lane. He made it safely home. In the hug she ripped the button off that tattered uniform. Her weathered fingers reached inside and from the bottle took a fancy little button I could tell just by the look. It brought a teardrop to her eye. She looked at me and smiled. From a dress I made your mother when she was just a child. I can still see Grandma sitting as the days were growing dim, stitching on old buttons where the threads were wearing thin. And each one told a story of times both near and far. And she told me of the memories inside this button jar. And she told me of the memories inside this button jar.